If you are joining us, there will be Spanish interpretation. Va a haber interpretación en español. Por favor, oprime o haga clic en el botón que dice interpretación para español. Gracias.
Good evening and welcome to Menlo-Atherton High School's 8th grade information night. I realize people are still joining. This will be recorded for future viewing, so we're going to get started. I'm Simone Kennel, Menlo-Atherton principal. This is my 28th year as an educator, 18 of which have been at Menlo-Atherton, and year 6 as the MA principal. I'm also parent of a college sophomore, so traveled the high school journey not too long ago. Whether veteran or new parents of high schoolers joining us this evening, welcome to MA's 8th grade information night, and welcome to students, the class of 2025. So I never would have fathomed presenting to you virtually, yet here we are. We look forward to telling you all about MA this evening. As it exists for students when we are fully in person, because we remain optimistic about incremental plans to reopen to in-person instruction fully by next August. In the few minutes I have, I want to tell you that our teachers and staff are the heart of MA. This year, we are focusing on elevating student voice and engaging in critical equity work as a staff to make sure MA goes beyond celebrating strength and diversity and making it a reality in all classrooms and on our campus. Following pride, patience, respect, integrity, determination, and empathy, we want to strive towards a school culture that's inclusive academically and socially. What you'll see in department presentations are the current course offerings MA has. As with any year, we look to new course proposals and course offerings to evaluate our course pathways and further develop our instructional program. That can take the better part of a school year. So for example, one change we're excited about is a new ethnic studies course proposal for all 9th grade students. The curriculum for this course is being developed and will partner with 1/4 of life skills requirement. Once the curriculum's finalized, we will have the course description in our program planning handbook. You, our parent communities, are also integral to MA's success. Thank you to the Menlo-Atherton English Learner Advisory Committee, ELAC, our foundation, our PTA, and athletic boosters for never-ending support, whether with donations or their time. We are grateful to have support for programs that benefit every Menlo-Atherton student. Not many public high schools our size have counselor caseloads of 300 or less, English class sizes capped at 30, or dedicated tutoring, homework, and writing centers, and a range of elective AP and academic support offerings. Rather than take it from me, though, you'll hear more about our programs from MA students and our wonderful teachers and representatives here this evening. So the other piece is, thanks to our community and district, MA is a beautiful campus as well. And when and if we can, we hope our incoming students will get to see the campus in person. Our library is a haven with new flooring and flexible furniture. We have state-of-the-art science labs. One chemistry lab is being remodeled right now. Instructional technology in classrooms, which are all outfitted with the most up-to-date computer labs, a makerspace, remodeled locker and team rooms and fields, and 2 newer buildings comprised of 27 classrooms. However, in the meantime, we'd like to encourage 8th grade students to sign up for one of 2 virtual shadowing opportunities on Thursday, October 22nd at 2:30 or Thursday, October 29th at 3 o'clock. You will find the links to register on our website, www.mabears.org. It's under the About Us and Get to Know MA tab, but will be on our homepage. So let me frame some of the logistics for this evening. Hopefully you got a chance to view the wonderful department presentations. Those are all on the homepage of our website ahead of this evening to learn about courses and programs. If you didn't, be sure to check them out on our homepage. And while we will not do a moderated Q&A this evening, there is a Google form where you can enter questions. And contacts for each department are listed next to the presentation links. So tonight, you are in for a treat. You will hear from a student panel about their experiences at Menlo-Atherton, learn about clubs, athletics, our wonderful AVID program, and hear from our department chairs who will address some frequently asked questions. So I'll leave you all with this. At MA rallies, we love to chant, MA, you know. So let's all practice at home if you're there with your family or someone near you. We can't see or hear you, but I trust you're gonna play along. So I've asked our wonderful panelists to do so as well. So you ready? Here we go. When I say MA, you say you know. Ready? MA.
You know.
All right. So that's what we do a few times back and forth. We'll work on being in sync, but for a webinar, it's all good. So right now I would like to introduce Elaine Rios, our wonderful English teacher and shadow coordinator, who we gratefully thank for many of the logistics of this evening, who is going to introduce our student panel and moderate it. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Ms. Kennel. And good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining our 8th grade information night. So today I have the privilege of moderating our student panel. So you'll be hearing from current MA students who will share a bit about their MA experience. So we have a few students here who will introduce themselves. So students on our panel, please introduce yourself by stating your first, last name, and grade level. We are gonna go ahead and start with Jeremiah.
Hi, I'm Jeremiah Irby, and I'm in 11th grade.
Alfonso.
Hello, my name is Alfonso Aguilar Arias, and I'm a senior.
Annika.
Hi, I'm Monica Abdallah, and I'm also a senior.
Tiffany.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Valencia, and I'm a senior.
And Sophic.
Hi, my name is Sophic Nori, and I'm also a senior.
Great, thank you, students. So we're going to be moving into asking you a few questions, and these questions are an opportunity for you to share with our guests and hopefully future bears a bit about your experience here at MA and what you have enjoyed the most at MA. So my first question to you all is, why did you choose MA? I'm sure you had so many options to choose from, but why did you all choose to come to MA? And what are some of your successes that you all have had at MA or challenges? And we're going to go ahead and start with Jeremiah.
I came to MA because I don't know, it was just a friendly environment, and I know a lot of people that was coming here, and I was familiar, and I knew like the athletics that was going on here. So yeah, that was really another reason why I came here. And some successes I've had are in sports and also in the classroom, and yeah.
Thank you. Alfonso, let's hear from you.
So I came to MA because it's actually relatively close to where I live. And it also because I knew some of my friends were coming in, so I was like, why not come here? And I also looked at, because I also was in the same position as you guys, as the hopefully incoming freshman for MA. The schools has a lot of great opportunities for all kids of all different backgrounds. And so that's why I took interest in MA. Some of the success that I had here was being able to challenge myself with the academic courses that MA offers, which is a really, really great opportunity for all students to take. So.
Thank you. Annika.
So I decided to come to MA because I really wanted to go to a larger high school. And I also felt like the opportunities here at MA matched most of the private schools that I was looking at. And again, it is way cheaper. So that definitely was a big part of the decision for me. And also a lot of my friends were going to MA. So I wanted to be with the people that I'd known since kindergarten. And I would say that like my struggles and my successes at MA have been very interlocked in the way that this school has so much to offer. And I've definitely been able to take advantage of that, but sometimes I have spread myself a little too thin and taken on too much. And I would say that's where most of my struggles at MA have come from. But overall, I am so happy that I came to MA, and it was definitely the best decision that I could have made.
Thank you. Tiffany.
I decided to come to MA because MA offered many opportunities like a strong drama department. I also wanted to meet people with different backgrounds. And I went to an underserved middle school where I was not prepared for the rigor of advanced classes at MA, which led to many academic challenges. But thankfully, the academic challenges turned into successes when I took advantage of resources on campus like the Writing Center and Homework Center. And I was able to become friends with people from different backgrounds and get involved on campus.
Excellent. Thank you. Sofvik.
Yeah, so I went to Hillview for middle school, go Hawks, but basically I was deciding between two high schools. Like I was either going to go to Bellarmine or come to MA. And I think what really made the decision for me was definitely one, that a lot of my friends came to this school, but also I think when I was looking at it, like compared to a private high school, the thing I really do appreciate about MA is there's a lot more freedom in terms of like what you can do, like what classes you can take or clubs. There's no like limitations and stuff like that. And I really do appreciate that. And I think it has helped me like the freedom to pursue whatever I want. Yeah, it is a pretty big school, especially compared to maybe some private schools like Menlo or Sacred Heart, but you can still find your own community within the school.
Thank you for those answers. And now I would like for you all to share a little bit about your academic course load. So if you could all share a little bit about classes you most enjoy, and even highlight maybe some elective classes that you all have enjoyed during your time at Menlo-Atherton. And we will start with Jeremiah.
My academic course load it's been good, even through the last year distance learning that we had. Also, some elective classes that I liked was digital photos. That was a very fun class. Assignment that we did that was fun was an FPP project, which was a famous photographer project, and that was really fun. We got to learn a lot of different photographers and copy their work or try to recreate it. And a class I really like is Avid. It's really fun, and it makes you stay on top of your work.
Great, thank you. Alfonso.
So my academic courses consisted of like regular honors and APs. What I enjoyed most about especially was about that the APs have a different environment compared to the regular uh, courses because it brings a whole new level of maturity that brings in within you because one of my favorite classes was AP biology, and I hope you guys take it soon too in your junior year. You guys might meet Mr. Royson. He is one of the best teachers that I've probably ever had in MA, just because he taught me not only the concept and like the whole class about biology, but he was also a friend that I created. And I know it's kind of weird to hear that like your teachers are your friends, but it's like actually really it's kind of like a really funny thought because like you don't expect to build that sort of relationship, but he did give a lot of life advice and just everything in general to you could think of when you asked them. And so that was basically one of my favorite classes. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Annika.
Yeah, so I have also taken primarily honors and AP classes here at MA. I'm definitely more interested in the humanities and social sciences, so I haven't taken as much of an opportunity with all of the STEM courses that we offer. But out of the classes that I've taken here, I would say that my favorites have been AP Lang my junior year, AP United States History, also my junior year, and then my freshman life skills and world studies class. I felt like all of those classes were really, the teachers were all amazing, but they all were able to not only prepare you for the material and for those AP tests, but also they were able to prepare you for the real world. And I feel like a lot of the curriculum in those classes not only made me a better student, but made me a better person. And then I've loved every elective I've taken at MA as well, but I've been primarily in leadership. So that's an amazing class, highly recommend.
Thank you. Tiffany.
My favorite AP classes have been AP Biology because of the opportunities we had to be hands-on and really apply what we learned in the class. For example, we dissected a cat and genetically engineered a recombinant plasmid. I've also really liked AP Spanish literature because I was able to learn about Latin American history and get better at speaking Spanish in an academic setting.
And Satvik.
Yeah, so I've tried to take like a vast variety of AP classes, both in like the sciences and humanities. I'd say some of my favorite have definitely been AP Euro. Like it was a very challenging class, same with APUSH, but I did learn a lot about history, and that's something like I'm really interested in studying in college. Same thing with like other classes like AP Lang or even AP Calculus. Like I think there are a lot of good, really great honors and AP teachers at MA, and I have learned a lot from them, and there are great opportunities to develop relationships with them in and outside of the classroom.
Thank you all. And so my next question for you all is, how have you become involved at MA? So what are some of the things that you're involved in? And if you could elaborate on that a little bit, that would be amazing. And we'll start with Jeremiah.
One way I've became involved in the MA community is by playing sports. I'm a 3-sport athlete, and really being a 3-sport athlete, like you have to be determined, and you have to like not be lazy and stay on top of your work. And yeah, that's really.
Thanks for sharing that, Jeremiah, and exactly what it takes to be involved. Alfonso, can we hear from you?
Yeah, so just like Jeremiah, I was also a part of sports. I played volleyball. And so it was a really fun way to get involved because I met a lot of students from different backgrounds. Some ways I was involved with the community of MA was being able to voice the unrepresented students. And I'm in the David class. I am co-president with as well with Tiffany. We both are working very hard to be able to have the underrepresented students that come from underfunded schools that me and Tiffany as well came from. And so being able to endure and being able to have that courage and to have this voice to be acknowledged, and it's such a big community, takes a lot of strength within. And so that's some of the ways I participated in being involved with MA.
I love that. Thank you. Annika.
So I also played a sport here at MA for a little bit. I was a member of the debate team. I've joined a couple of clubs. But my primary interest at MA has been leadership. I'm currently the ASB president this year, which is really amazing and been really fun. But leadership is definitely hands down the best class you could take here. I really do feel that you have a family if you're in leadership at school. There's always a place that you can go to if you need anything. If you want advice about what classes to take, you can ask the seniors in the class. And there's just such a warm feeling in that classroom. And I really think that that class has made me the person that I am today. So if you do come to MA, highly suggest taking leadership. You will not regret it.
Good response. I like that. Annika. Tiffany.
So my freshman year of high school, I was in the musical, and the following year I joined choir. I've been an AVID for all 4 years and I'm co-president of the AVID Club. I would highly recommend the AVID program because of the family it cultivates on campus, and I'm also a student representative for the SDMSC Council.
Thank you, Tiffany. Sophic.
Yeah, so my freshman year, I played basketball and I was really into it, but then I like tore my meniscus twice. So I couldn't really play basketball anymore, but I think that was kind of a blessing in disguise because I was able to explore so many other opportunities at MA. Like I'm the captain of our debate team. I'm also the editor-in-chief of our newspaper, the MA Chronicle, both of which have won national awards. So there are definitely a lot of opportunities there. Also this year I was able to become the student trustee for the Sequoia Union High School District. So it's been really interesting to get to learn more about how the school board is run and how high schools are managed at an administrative level.
Thank you for that answer, Sophic. Sounds like you've been very busy. You all have been very busy. And so keeping in mind everything that you've accomplished here at MA, which was probably not what you thought your experience was going to be like coming in as a freshman, what advice would you give an incoming freshman? Or what kind of advice would you give an incoming freshman? What is something that they should know? Or do you have also any advice for parents? What kind of advice for parents would you give in the student perspective?
Advice for students, I would just say like keep your options open and just have an open mind. And for parents, I would just say volunteer your time, get active in the Bear community, and yeah.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Alfonso.
I would say that being able to kind of break out of this shell of just being kind of insecure and kind of shy, trying to not wanting to fit in because I chose not to. But I feel like if you walk into this campus with confidence, and I'm sure all of you will, just being able to walk in and being able to talk to your teachers, being able to make new friends, because you are coming to a school where a lot of different students from different backgrounds are coming into one like space. And so I would definitely tell myself to just explore my options, be more open to what I want to choose, because at the end of the day, you're the one who's taking initiative to being able to decide what your future is. And so some advice that I have for the parents is kind of let your like teenagers, like your children, to kind of just breathe, because you know, it's a lot trying to see what they're doing. You know, you're trying to decide for them. But I mean, I feel like you should let them kind of do their own thing and kind of navigate their way and kind of tell them like, okay, this is right or this is wrong. So
good advice, Alfonso. Annika.
So for the parents, I would say, remember to celebrate your child's successes and failures. I know my parents have been really supportive throughout my 4 years here, and it's definitely helped me to genuinely be a happier person. I would also say, just make sure that you're taking the classes that you're passionate about. going to hard classes that you don't care about every day is not fun, but going to hard classes where you're being challenged in areas that you're really interested in and passionate about is a really pleasant experience, and you'll enjoy it. So I think you have to remember to follow your passions at MA, and there's so many opportunities that you can definitely find something you're passionate about. And then I also would say to the students, like, freshman year is definitely a learning curve, and don't expect to come into high school and have everything kind of fall into place. I know for me personally, it did take, a couple months or even a year or two before everything kind of fell into place and I found my niche at school. So just, keep an open mind, think about what you're interested in, what you're passionate about, and do what you want to do, not what anyone else wants you to do.
That was more great advice. Thank you, Annika. Tiffany, let's hear from you.
I'd advise parents to be patient with their students during the transition into high school and be ready to support them by either getting involved on campus or staying up to date with events. And I'd advise students to take advantage of resources and opportunities on campus, especially if your middle school does not offer as many resources as MA, because it is a great way to gain leadership skills and develop new friendships.
Thank you for that, Tiffany. And Safik, let's hear what you have.
Yeah, so I thought I'd say something that my parents were very curious about. So if you are deciding between an MA and a private school, it is important to remember MA is definitely on the larger side in terms of a school. So there are a lot of academic freedom, but you do have to be a little bit more self-motivated and self-driven than in a private school. But if your kid is, or you feel like you can help them be, I think MA is a great school because there are so many opportunities you can become involved in. And even for freshmen, I remember my first week of MA, it was kind of challenging to fit in, but I feel like if you stick at it, it does get better and you get involved in communities. But like I said, it does, compared to middle school, at least in my experience, you do have to be a little bit more self-driven and seeking out help and going to teachers and joining clubs. So yeah, if I were a parent, I would help your kid do that more.
Thank you all, really good responses. Thank you, students, for being open and willing to share your experience as MA Bears. And so that concludes our student panel. But now I have the privilege of introducing two of our student leadership students, Jacob Fishman and Rebecca Sandoval. So take it away.
Hi, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. My name is Jacob Fishman, and I am the Asb Clubs Coordinator. A little bit about what I do. I basically just help clubs run smoothly. The whole operation is up to the clubs. They have a lot of freedom, and it's really awesome what they're able to do this year. So this year we are all virtual. I made a virtual clubs rush with the help of the clubs, and they all added their videos. If you actually go to tinyurl.com/virtualclubrush2020, the YouTube video should pop up, and it is a whole collection of all of the videos of clubs from this year. And it's pretty interesting if your son or daughter or non-binary student wants to be a part of a club or find out or learn information. It's great because it's sort of like a catalog of all of the clubs we have this year. And if you look in the description of the video, you'll see a link to a list that'll show the list of the full clubs we have this year with contact emails if you want to find out more about clubs. When we hopefully go back to school in the spring and next year, we're going to have in-person club rush, and we're just going to try and get things going as quick as possible. I'm going to hand it off to Rebecca, who's going to talk a little bit more about the general leadership program.
Thank you, Jacob. Hi, my name is Rebecca Sandoval, and I'm a junior in our Spirit Leadership class. Even with distance learning, leadership students are working hard to help our community. We recently held a relief for fire victims and a nonpartisan voter registration, and we look forward to hold many more events even during this time. For instance, coming up, we have a COVID-friendly version of Trick or Treat Street. It'll be on Wednesday, October 28th, and bring your little ones to enjoy Halloween. And look for ways you can help feed our families with our annual canned food drive starting next month.
Okay, now I would like to introduce Mr. Snow, who is the director of the athletics department.
All right, thank you very much, Jacob and Rebecca. My name is Paul Snow. This is my, 26th year, I think, as an educator and teacher, 17th at MA and 10th as one of the two athletic directors here. We're at MA. We're lucky enough to have two ADs because of our boosters. They fund it. Simone mentioned them, and they've been fantastic. It's a big undertaking with so many students and coaches that participate in athletics. So having two is much, much better. So we have almost 60 teams at MA. I think last count was around 59 to be exact. Around 1,100 athletes at last check, and over 100 coaches, 2 ADs, and 1 trainer. I wanted to share my screen in a minute, but just to let you guys know, we do have a pretty rich history of athletic success at MA, and that's largely due to boosters, parents, really dedicated and experienced coaches as well. So just last year, and this was shortened, we didn't have spring sports because of COVID, but just last year we had 11 league titles and 4 CCS or sectional titles that goes from really San Francisco all the way to King City, 150 schools. So that we were very proud of. And the year before we had 13 league, 8 sectional, 1 NorCal, and 2 state titles, which was even better. So we have also won the Commissioner's Cup, which is a league thing, the PAL, Peninsula Athletic League Commissioner Cup, 12 years in a row. And that indicates that we have the best league or the best school in the league for overall athletics. You get points based on how varsity teams end, and you get negative points for sportsmanship, which we also place a huge high value on. So we're very proud of that as well. Let me share my screen really quick. I wanted to go over just a few items that you'd probably find interesting. First, seasons of sport and what sports we offer. So hopefully you can see my screen. This is in a normal year. This year is not normal, obviously, but I'm speaking to you as incoming freshmen next year. So fall sports normally are cross country, both genders, football, which really is co-ed. We do have girls on the team, at least 1 this year, 2 last year. Girls golf, girls tennis, and then girls volleyball, boys and girls water polo, and well, cross country, I said both. Winter is only 3 sports. It's basketball, it's soccer, and it's wrestling. And we have for both genders on all 3 of those. And freshman team for boys basketball. Spring, if you just hover over those, if you want to visit it later at your own convenience. Badminton is co-ed, baseball and softball, boys golf, boys and girls lacrosse, swimming, both genders, softball, I said, I think, boys tennis, track, both genders, and then boys volleyball goes in the spring. The other thing I wanted to point out was clearance. So if your kid is interested in joining a team, all they have to do, if you go to, let me do this, bearsathletics.com, and you go to more and clearance packet, that will take you to our clearance packet, which is online. You upload your physical, everything is right there. Once you do that and you indicate the sport, then you will be added to the tryout list. And that's how you do it. And if you want to contact coaches directly, you're more than welcome to do that. Just go to more and current head coaches, or you can always go to the team. Like if you're interested in girls soccer, you can just go to their page and the coach will pop up in the homepage there of their sport. Other than that, we do some conditioning in the summer. So when your kid graduates from 8th grade, the 2nd week of June, we'll send an email out to all incoming parents and just say which teams are conditioning in the summer. It's completely not obligatory. You don't have to do it, but you may want your kids out of the house a little more in the summer, and this is a great way to get them some physical activity. I know football does it, a lot of the fall sports do it in the summer weeks before they start in early August. If you ever need to contact me, have other questions, because I know some might have popped up, but I'm very available by email, and you can reach that or see that on our website, bearsathletics.com as well. And I'm very good about responding in a timely manner. So please, by all means, reach out. And with that said, I wanted to introduce the Avid team with Mr. Dow and Miss Byrne.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Kwa Dao, and this is my 7th year as a teacher and my 4th year at M-AHS. I've been an Avid teacher for the last 3 years, and I now teach Avid juniors.
And my name is Mallory Byrne, and I have been a teacher for 12 years now, 4th year at M-AHS, and I currently teach World Studies for freshmen, U.S. History for juniors, and my Avid students are seniors, and they are about to graduate, which is really exciting. So we're here to present on the Avid program. So first of all, Avid stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. And the word that really sticks out to me when it comes to Avid is individual. So all of the students that apply to be in our program, they really need to have the characteristics of students that want to do well in both high school and in college. The Avid program at M-AHS was established in 1997. And what's really awesome about our program is that 99% of last year's seniors were actually admitted to a 4-year university. So, Avid is for students who want to earn a 4-year college degree. It is for students who want to complete advanced courses in high school. A couple of our students who were on the student panel mentioned taking pretty rigorous courses. They want help with college financial aid and scholarship applications. Right now, my seniors are working diligently on their common applications, their UC applications, and their CSU applications. They also, we try to help students be successful in college by helping them with a variety of skills that Kwa will go over later. And students really, in the Avid program, they have this desire to be part of a family and also to be leaders on campus. So we do our best to provide some of those leadership opportunities for them. A few things that Avid is not. Avid is not a study hall. Students are regularly participating in a variety of academic and personal activities to better themselves. It is not a place where you just come to, finish your homework that you didn't get to finish. It is not a program just for students of color. We have a wide variety of students in our program. And it is also not a remediation course. To be completely honest, I was the first person in my family to go to college. I graduated from Aragon in San Mateo, and I would have been the perfect Avid student, but the program wasn't at my high school at that time. So that's one of the reasons why I do teach Avid, is because I would have benefited from that support. So I want to support other students on their journey. All right, Kwa, I think it's you.
All right, so there's a lot of support that we offer within the Avid program, which is one reason why I love teaching in this program. One is that you have the same teacher for all 4 years, and you get to create a connection with that teacher. And we have a running thing where we call ourselves an Avid family. I'm considered like my students' Avid dad, and they also have an Avid mom. If they have a female teacher. And what's really cool is that they can always go to that teacher, with any help and advice. And it's a really stable thing in the students' lives. And it's been a really great thing for the students this year over distance learning, because they have kind of somebody stable to lean on, in this really difficult time. And the teacher also helps them with the college process and monitors their academic progress over those 4 years as well. And so the teacher gets to know the student and their academic progress very, very well. What's really cool too is that the students stay in this cohort program. They have the same classmates for all 4 years. And so they are able to create friendships. They have the same college goals. They're oftentimes in the same classes together. They attend college tours and relevant field trips together. And so it's really a great place for them to be. And another support offered by AVID is that there's college-age tutors and adult volunteers who help out twice a week for tutorials. They also participate in binder checks to help students stay organized and share their college experiences with the students as well. So, the support that we offer specifically in our AVID classes, we teach critical thinking skills and make sure that students gather these skills no matter what classes they're in. We have tutoring sessions with students. Right now we're distance learning. We do it once a week, but usually in-person learning, we do it twice a week. We teach them how to study for their tests and quizzes. We also do SAT and ACT prep with my juniors. We actually are working on practice SATs right now, and we have like a practice SAT and practice ACT question at the beginning of every class for warm-up. We teach them how to stay organized. We have them use their planners. We have a system for checking off their binders. We also teach them how to take good notes, and we coach them through the college process. So how do you apply? There's a student application. Students will complete the application questions and you apply in the second semester of 8th grade. And this can be done either digitally or on paper. And then students also need a teacher recommendation. So a teacher who will write a recommendation which showcases the student's academic and leadership abilities and potential. And our next speaker is going to be the IVP, Instructional Vice Principal, Carl Lusku.
All right, greetings everybody, and thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. I think earlier you heard from some pretty impressive students at MA. I believe in small part that's because we also have some exceptional teachers here at MA. And I'm going to be introducing and asking some questions of a few of these teachers. We have a representative from each department present with us on our panel. But first I'd like to kind of point everybody's direction to the MA Bears website. And if you go here, this is the homepage of the website, and you scroll down, not there, just scroll down. And you'll see information about 8th grade information night. So here are presentations from each department in English and Spanish. Each department has put together a presentation where they've created a video of a slideshow that they would normally do if we were doing an in-person 8th grade information night. You can also access the slides without the video presentation, and there's department chair contact there should you have questions. These slideshows are great resources if you have questions about overall course pathways, if you want to know the variety of options that are available in a particular department, if you want to know about what different levels freshmen may take in a particular department, or different elective choices. So I just want to make sure everybody has access or recognizes that they can access these slideshows. They will be up on our website for some time. And right above this chart, there's actually a Google form link where it says fill out this Google form. If you have questions after this presentation or after viewing some of those videos, we'll be monitoring that Google form. We may post a frequently asked questions on the website, or may actually just respond to you individually if you have questions. Okay, moving on to talk to some of our department chairs. What I've done is we've got some basically commonly asked questions from 8th grade information nights from the past that I'm going to pitch to some of our wonderful department chairs. I want to thank them for joining us tonight. These are some of our exceptional teachers who work tirelessly on behalf of students. And so Mr. Girth is on the center of my screen. So I'm going to ask you my first question, Mr. Girth, who is our English department chair, who also teaches senior English and honors sophomores. Mr. Girth, could you describe what some of the texts ninth graders read in English class?
Yeah, absolutely. The ninth graders, depending on if they're doing college prep or if they're doing AS, they're kind of on the same pace in what it is that they're reading. It's this semester, they're focusing on this narrative unit, science fiction, short stories, as well as Night by Elie Wiesel. So there's also the Odyssey, and as well as eventually individual teachers are picking texts like Romeo and Juliet, A Raisin in the Sun, Kindred, as well as other plays. This kind of allows for different teachers to teach different things. However, there's still that common unit. There's even the possibility of House of Mango Street, kind of allow for that narrative and identity unit, as well as American and Me, which is a collection of essays.
Thank you, Mr. Girth. Let me ask you one follow-up question, Mr. Girth, which is about how much reading should a ninth grader expect in their English course?
Yeah, absolutely. There had, as much as there had been it seemed like it was up to 30 pages. That actually isn't realistic anymore. Realistically nowadays, the most reading that's done is about 15 pages in most English classes. And about half of that if in a college prep class is actually, half of that is done in the class if it's a college prep class. Whereas if it's the AS English, then all of it is done outside of class. Right now, the emphasis is on teaching students how to think about how they're reading and how this is inferencing and making text to text, text to self, and text to world connections. That way, it's allowing for a lot more close readings within our classes.
Very well said, Mr. Girth. Thank you. My next question will be for Mr. Powell, who is our science department chair and also a teacher of AP Environmental Science. Mr. Powell, given the implementation of next generation science standards, how would you say these standards have changed the way we teach biology and how students experience biology as ninth graders?
That's a great question. I'm not sure if how much parents know about next generation science standards, but in the past, the focus with science instruction was more on content, more like what do you know about science? And now that's still important, but now there's a much more of an emphasis on what do scientists do? They call them science and engineering practices. And so examples of that would be like, can you analyze data? Can you communicate findings from an experiment? Can you create a model and develop a model and revise a model? And then also it's about how do scientists think? And so, what's the lens that we have on the world? Looking for patterns, looking for cause and effect relationships, looking at differences with like scale and proportion and things like that. And so with next generation science standards, we've now got the content, we've got like the doing and creating like investigations, and then we've also got that lens. And so it's really kind of changed the game for science instruction. And so, I think at M-AHS, teachers have always been, we've been really big on hands-on labs and inquiry-driven labs, but now it's more like, we have a lot more opportunities for kids to model their understanding and revise their models, which is actually really nice because it also works in this online world we're in right now. And so we've managed to, we still have lots of hands-on labs happening when we're in school, but we've been able to, kind of tweak some of these things to bring out these changes with the standards.
Great, thank you, Mr. Powell. And I was going to ask a follow-up question, but I'm going to state the answer, which is all ninth graders take biology. So you've heard from two of the department chairs, all ninth graders take English, all ninth graders also take biology. My next question is for Mr. Leeper, who's the department chair of our career and technical education, which offers a variety of elective courses to ninth graders. And Mr. Leeper, I'm going to ask you, what characterizes a CTE course? And how is this different from a core content like a science or an English course?
Well, the biggest difference is that all of our courses teach with hands-on projects, whether it's the woodworking classes or architecture classes like I teach, the digital animation classes like Mr. Gianbruno teaches, or the culinary arts classes like Ms. Biffle teaches. They all focus on the hands-on learning, and you basically develop a product that is evaluated at the end. And they're much more, I think, concrete than conceptual.
Great, great. Mr. Lieber, I will ask you a follow-up question. Are there some CTE courses that students can take as a 7th class?
Yes, there are 3 departments which a student can take a CTE as a 7th class. One of them is industrial arts, which I teach, which includes woods 1, 2, and 3, and architectural design 1 and 2. The culinary arts program taught with Ms. Biffle. You can also take a 7th period class, and the digital arts classes taught by Mr. Gianbruno, which includes animation and digital communications.
Great, thank you, Mr. Lieber. And for the parents at home and students at home, in general, students take 6 courses as freshmen at MA, but again, there are some programs, such as the one Mr. Lieber mentioned, where students are allowed to take 7 courses. Thank you, Mr. Lieber. My next question is for Ms. Byrne, who you've already heard from, as she's one of our avid teachers. Ms. Byrne, and describing a world studies, or what will be hopefully ethnic studies next year, what are some of the what basic skills are central to studying history and different cultures? What basic skills do students learn in a social studies or world studies course as freshmen?
Thanks, Carl. So all social studies teachers actually prepare our students to think critically about the past, present, and future through analysis of reliable primary, secondary, and tertiary sources. We also have our students reading and writing daily, and also participating in some very brave academic conversations regularly. In terms of learning about cultures, students learn about many different regions in the world during their time at MA, including Africa, Latin America, the Middle East, parts of Asia, Europe, and of course, the United States. And there's also a focus on learning about themselves as well as others, with a strong emphasis on appreciating diverse cultures.
Great, thank you, Ms. Byrne. And let me, because you also are one of our 9th grade teachers and teach life skills, I'm wondering if you could comment a little bit on what a life skills course is and how it fits into that freshman social studies year.
Sure. So all students take life skills during their time at MA, and it's the first quarter of the school year, and it's 9 weeks long. We just wrapped up life skills. If you look behind me, I've got the last agenda for life skills. And so we've had a variety of units on identity, college and career readiness, relationships, mental health, drugs, alcohol, and addiction, with a closing final, which is a speech on a social issue of their choice. So it's a great class to hop into to start high school. And it's also pretty amazing because the class brings together students from the various middle school districts.
Great, thank you, Ms. Byrne. And again, all 9th graders take life skills?
Absolutely.
In conjunction with their World Studies 9th grade course.
Yep.
Thank you again for being here, Ms. Byrne. My next question is for Mr. Tilson, who is the department chair for our Visual and Performing Arts Department. Mr. Tilson, in general, what would you say are some of the standards or elements of art that students learn in a VPA course?
Thank you, Mr. Liskoot. So you say elements, and that's the language of art itself. So the elements and principles we talk about across the board for both visual and performing arts. We also follow the state standards for the visual and performing arts. Depending on the strand that a student takes, there are some specifics, right? 3-dimensional design is different than what you would get in a 2-dimensional class. So ceramics is the 3-dimensional, drawing, painting, digital photography as the 2-dimensional. And then there's some variations when you get into the performing aspect of the arts. So.
Great, thank you, Mr. Tilson. My follow-up question for you is, are there some since VPA or Visual Performing Arts is an elective course that students would take, are there some VPA courses that students can take as a 7th class?
There are, yeah. So it is an elective. It's also a graduation requirement to have a year-long class in the visual performing arts. As a freshman, some students who are continuing a discipline from earlier education, so a lot in the music or in drama in some instances, can be taken as a 7th class as their freshman year.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Tilson. And next, I'm going to introduce Ms. Wimberley, who some of you may know in the audience. Ms. Wimberley is our most tenured teacher on campus, and she's one of our physical education teachers. And Ms. Wimberley, can you describe some of the activities that all 9th graders participate in during PE?
Sure. Next year, hopefully we're back on campus, and we start off with a health unit. And during that health unit, they learn how to do CPR, learn a little bit about gang awareness, bullying, and nutrition. Also the care and prevention of injury. Some of the activities that we do are badminton, soccer, lacrosse. We even have a dance unit, and yes, the boys do dance and have a great time. We also have volleyball, flag football, track and field, and we always finish with swimming. Also, if there's still the California physical fitness test that we need to do, we generally give that in March, which is 6 tests. And those tests are push-ups, curl-ups, mile run, trunk lift, sit and reach, and body composition or BMI. So we do offer a variety of different activities for the kids, and hopefully they will enjoy playing one or several of them during the school year.
Great, thank you, Ms. Wimberley. And again, all 9th graders take physical education at MA, so it's important for families to know that. Thank you, Ms. Wimberley.
You're welcome.
Next, I'm going to introduce Ms. Colonje, who is our World Language Department Chair and also teaches AP Spanish, along with Spanish for Native Speakers Level 4. Ms. Colonje, many of our 8th graders are part of an immersion program. So my question for you is, if a student took an immersion language course in middle school, what would be an appropriate course for them to take as a 9th grader if they were doing a world language?
Yes, hello. Most of these students, we have 2 programs. We have a native speakers program and a non-native speakers. And it really does depend on each student. Their skills in grammar and ability to write and to express themselves orally. These students will typically go into a level 4, depending which program they would feel most comfortable in.
Great, thank you, Ms. Colonje. And then real quick, if a student is taking a level 1, a 2, or a 3 of a language, how are students placed in those courses?
Usually the 8th grade teacher will do the recommendation for the students since they know best which level will be most appropriate. And we do collaborate with the 8th grade teachers at some of the middle schools so that they know we share with them what our pathway is and what our matrix looks like as to what we are expecting them to know when they come in as 9th graders.
Great, great. Thank you, Ms. Colonje. And last but not least, Ms. Breen is our math department chair, also one of our core geometry teachers. And Ms. Breen, I want to ask you, if a student wants to advance in math, how would they go about doing so?
Hello, everybody. There's lots of information and people asking questions about math acceleration. We currently accept students into 6 different levels of mathematics, depending on what class they took in the middle school in 8th grade, and their passion and their desire. So we have many students who are placing into algebra, geometry, algebra 2. We also have students who actually start their 9th grade year in pre-calc and in calculus. 1 or 2 in those realms. So if students, their placement depends on what class they took in middle school, and as well as what exam. There's placement exams that help with that. In terms of acceleration, we highly recommend that students who want to accelerate in math, it is their passion. It is the thing that they love to do. There's many different pathways that will lead students to those
to what they'd love to study later on in their math career at MA. We actually at the MA Math Department recommend that students take math at MA. Students entering in at geometry can get to the high levels of calculus. Students entering into algebra, taking normal pathways can get to the realms of pre-calculus and statistics, with also AP statistics available to them. So we have a broad variety of classes, and acceleration is something that we know some students are interested in. We do have information about it on our website that goes into details based on each individual students and what class they took in their middle school.
Great, thank you, Ms. Breen. And also I'm gonna follow up with a question with you having to do with Common Core standards and how the implementation of Common Core standards has impacted math instruction and problem solving. How has problem solving changed for students?
So we're excited that our Common Core classes include algebra, geometry, and algebra 2, our core classes in the Common Core. And the Common Core asks for students to engage in in-depth problem solving. And all of our courses are looking to develop students' ability to problem solve and clearly explain different types of problem solving. So we're moving toward the idea of sharing logic and diving into deeper problem solving and projects in mathematics. One of the great things that we have at MA is the support of our Foundation for the Future. Our Foundation for the Future has supported math teachers in attending national and regional mathematics conferences, where we go and we learn about these new things in math teaching in terms of adapting to the Common Core and using this new kind of problem solving in our classrooms.
Great, thank you, Ms. Breen. And I actually, we're going to wrap it up here, but I want to point out that we started with Mr. Girth, ended with Ms. Breen, both of which really commented and highlighted the degree to which we teach critical thinking in all of our courses. It's not so much always about coverage, but how can we get kids problem solving, thinking, developing models, and applying what they're learning to themselves and the outside world. So thank you, everybody here. I want to take a quick second to remind people to take a look at those presentations on the website. If your 8th grader would like to participate and get to know MA Day, which is coming up on October 27th, or October 22nd, and October 29th, they can do so by signing up on the webpage. And we're showing a link here, and they should be able to register there for that virtual Get to Know MA Day for that, and that's for incoming 8th graders, really for students. I also want to point out that you can reach administrators, you can reach myself through the website by checking out about, if you look at the tab about MA, go to administrator, click on the red hyperlink next to our name, and you can send us an email if you have questions. We will be monitoring that Google form. If you have questions, we will get back to you. And having said that, I want to thank everybody for participating tonight, both students, staff members, and especially parents and incoming 8th graders. We really hope to see you here in the fall. I speak from the bottom of my heart. I've been here for 20 years. I believe MA is an excellent place and you can get a great education here. There's a ton of opportunity. So thank you, everyone. And we hope to see you again in the fall. Good night.